Hey,
Everyone. Here we are again. Another week has gone by. Does it seem like it's been a whole week?
yes.
Yeah, right. Things
Yeah,
go pretty
really?
fast.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, so much has seemed to have happened during this past week. Normally what we do is go through what's happened in the dog arena over the last week, and then we go into a good dog day, and then we're going to do Roman to the rescue. And today's topic is about what can you do to avoid dog food aggression and people aggression, because it seems as though there are a lot of people that feel that a dog is not worth keeping or wanting to relinquish them because of a dog or food aggression, people aggression, food aggression, people aggression. So the first thing we're going to do today is I am going to introduce, let me see, our canine. Okay, in the canine news section, I'm going to put myself up over here. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about something that just came up over the last week or so. And it's about, I'm sure, Roman, you can relate to this. It's about rescues that accuse other rescues of not treating animals correctly. And they lose sight of the prize, which is saving the animals and getting them into a safe and healthy environment. So you'll see things like um, this rescue didn't do this right for the dogs, and this one is not providing care for them. And then you bring in, and when we had Darcy on our show, Darcy was very, very good at being able to communicate through investor bark uh, yeah, Inspector Bark. Sorry,
Inspector Bark.
Inspector Bark,
Investigator Bark. Kind of.
Investigator Bark. Yeah, what she was able to do is identify through laborious interviewing and uh, investigative reporting to find out. Do in fact these rescues do things that are difficult that hurt the animals? Well, recently, because I'm in a small community, the community has some rescues that they seem to want to pin things on each other. And the one that I want to show right now, and no harm to them, but I do want to show that this is called From the Heart Animal Rescue, and they rescued this cute little Chihuahua. I've invited them to be on our show because, unfortunately, they have some information on the show, or they have some information that was false information that they were given. So, what happens in something like that is the rescue that is involved ends up getting a bad rap. So, we've invited From the Heart Animal Rescue to be on the show so that we can discuss what they're saying is that this particular dog was at the shelter. It it was rescued by a rescue, and then the rescue turned it back in because of certain issues. I'm not going to go into the details on it. But this particular kind of case is something that I think we want to bring forward in the future. What do you guys think? And Roman, what's your experience regarding rescue to rescue or shelters and rescues and the inner fighting that occurs?
Rescue is a very passionate field. People with passion want to help animals at any cost. Now, there is the ethics and morals involved with the cost of doing rescue. And so every person has a different morals and ethical compass. For some people, think are ethical to have dogs in a kennel all day long. Some other people says it's ethical for the dogs to be roaming free. Other people says ethical for the dogs to be rescued from a shelter no matter what the end result will be and where they will stay. So we see there are different situations. And how much money do we spend on medical care? How much money do we spend on training? How much money do we spend on adoption education? How much money do we spend on doing foster and adopter evaluations? And so there's a lot of information that's really vague. And even for me, who only works with selected rescue, because I want the people who I recommend and people that I work with to come from the same angle of ethical perspective and treatment of animals. Treating an animal humane is relative of how each one humane perceives. Some people says shock collars are humane. Well, it's not humane to me. Some
Hmm.
people says prong collars are humane because you're going to save the dog's life. You know, you can correct him. That's humane on my side, but the other people, no, that's humane for some rescues. I don't agree with that. And so my selection with which ones I work with is really coming from a perspective. Would I leave my dog with them? Would leave my dog for them to stay for a month? Do I feel the safety? Do they have a veterinary care on board? Do they have um, support from a trainer, from a behaviorist to do the assessments of the dogs of intake? Do the fosters being supported and educated, or are they just parking lots that spend money from their own pocket so the rescue saves money for his own pocket? And we see all these things are very important.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I don't point fingers out there. I'm just on working with other rescues that I don't feel they cover my understanding of
Right.
healthy, emotional, healthy, holistic care of animals.
Right. Right. And I think that that's where we all come in is let's not lose sight of the prize here, and the prize is really the animals, because they can't talk for themselves and they're helpless and they need our help. So here we are. Let's try and join together, folks, so that we're not accusing each other. We're all here for the same reason, to help the animals. And for those that have the ability to take their resources, spend their time, give their efforts to help the animals. We don't want to bring them down under the ground. We don't want to push them under. If there is a situation, I think the main thing that we want to say right now is that if there ever is a situation that occurs, before you go posting it on social media, before you start backstabbing or putting the arrows in someone's back, know the truth. Talk to the horse's mouth, get
Yeah.
it firsthand. Don't go on assumptions, don't go on hearsay. Right, folks?
I
Yeah.
agree completely and absolutely with that. Check your source of information before you jump and start attacking people and blaming this and that. Verify the source of information. There's so much misinformation these days. It's unbelievable how much misinformation is all over the place. So if somebody said, "Oh, I saw that on the internet," okay, which page?
Right,
Which
right,
site, who said that, when, and you have to be very, very, very careful with that. I
right.
have an anecdote, very simple to illustrate this situation. There's a farmer, he has a cow in 1 acre.
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah, and the cow is very limited in her ability to eat because she's limited to water, and she produced like a gallon of milk per day. So the farmer opened the gate and gave access to the cow to 10 acre of land. How much milk did the cow produce when they opened the gate?
Just as much.
Yeah, it's not relevant.
Yeah,
It's irrelevant
yeah.
because people will mix up information and say, "Oh yeah, you open the gate, then she will produce 10 gallon of day." No,
Right.
it doesn't work like that. And there's a lot of misinformation about everything surrounding us, and it's very important to be careful about that and check the source of information. Who said that? What is the context? And verify your information before you jump in and say, "Oh, this is bad, this is bad," because at the end of the day, you look bad.
Oh, Gaetan, that is an excellent point. What I call them is keyboard warriors. These are the ones that come forth and they say they know best and they're there to help, but they don't really do anything except sit on the internet and try and cause havoc. We have enough of those, especially in the animal industry and the animal welfare. We have enough of people that want to bring somebody else down. So let's look at the sources. Let's make certain that our information is correct. We're not hurting someone else. We're documenting. And by the way, is it important to bring in a rescue who is not reputable? Of course it is. Of course it is. But do you really want to bring down a rescue that is really doing good work and doesn't really have any issues? And by the way, every rescue has issues. Every rescue has problems. Nobody is perfect. But when you understand the circumstances behind it, it could be lack of people, it could be lack of money, it could be all kinds of things. Hear the story first, sympathize with it, see if you can work with it. And by God, if you're in a position to help, then do that. Help with it. Okay, so that's it.
Unfortunately, the pet industry is not regulated, and the term 501c3 does make you a good quality rescue.
That's true.
The other one is people who have no education, just passionate about dogs, doesn't mean they do the job right.
Right.
They may feel they do right, and they may be passionate about what I'm doing is right, but they don't have education. That's why I created a foster home education program for rescue to join and participate and learn the proper approach to take in dogs, evaluate dogs, to save dogs, and have them going through an emotional healing process and not just being ready to be adopted just because you want to get rid of the dogs.
Exactly.
And it helps the dog evolve, it helps the dog heal from his trauma, and it helps the dog not being surrendered back to the shelter, because there is a 10% return rate usually in average in US. Dogs who are being adopted going back because lack of information, lack of education of the dog, and especially a foster home who is educated can double and triple his capacity in taking in rescues and fosters.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, okay, now Gaetan, we're going to come up with your section here now, and I will cue you in.
Thank you, Kathy, for that.
You're welcome. So now, what is it that we're going to be watching today?
Okay, before we watch the video,
Okay,
I
go
have
ahead.
some news to share.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right. Okay.
If you want to give me permission. The first news is finally Friday last week I got my first shot for the COVID-19. Is it related? Yes, it is. April, I will be fully vaccinated and fully immune. My goal is to go out of the bunker where I'm living and start filming activity going on in the real world. Okay, so that's my objective, my goal, intent, my desire. I want to get out of the house, get out of my bunker, get out of my cage, and go out and start filming things related to the Good Dog Day show.
Okay.
I was very lucky to have the opportunity to film Julian doing his dog rescue a few months ago. I would like to continue doing things like that. I would like to go to any other opportunity of filming. I want to go to the canine division. I can come to Oregon. Yes, I will. I can do that. By the way, Roman is the cockpit of his 747 that he landed to his house, and he thinks that he is like John Travolta.
Even though I'm Greek.
You can have a 747 park in your driveway. There's nothing wrong to be Greek with that. And
Do you, Roman? Do you have a
747?
Do you have a runway by you?
I have a dog runway, if that helps.
Oh, no.
Is lending his
I was
drone
thinking
there.
about for transport right away. I'm thinking transport.
Well,
Roman's backyard.
Eugene is not far away from here. It's just 20 minutes away, so it's pretty local.
Yeah. Okay. All
So
right.
yes, I can get to you, Roman, and not in the aggressive way, but you know,
Yeah.
in as soon as the opportunity is there, I'll manage to get there and have a session filming with what you do and how you do it, and bring that to the Good Dog Day show here. So that's one. Let's put that on our list to do
Okay.
things. And well, I have a small video. The video is a toddler interacting with a Malamute dog. Has been seen by 3 million people or plus.
Yes.
Hopefully, there
And
will be more people watching it. It's cute. The thing which make this interesting to me is the mom of both the dog and the baby. When she talked to the dog react and speak, quote unquote. And I found that very interesting to have a dog expressing with sound an interaction with human. And this is like a fascinating aspect of the dog behavior that Roman can explain in detail after the viewing of this unique video.
yes, the mom, what you're going to see is that when the mom talks, it's like she's talking to the dog and the baby, and they're both reacting.
Right.
So it's very cute. And we want to thank Life with Malamutes for allowing us to show this video today. This is from their YouTube page. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, and you have the link
So
for the
hoping I'll be
audience.
able to
Yes.
capture it. Oh, look, she's reaching for his paw. Mia has now learnt to roll over both ways. So she can always get on her tummy. She's been able to do that for months now. Probably about 6, maybe 7 weeks. Oh, she's touching your paw. She's going to be crawling to you soon. She will be. Why don't you speak to her? Say hello, Mia. Go, ow. Go, ow. Milo just did a little meow. I'm not sure if the camera would have picked that up. Speak to Mia. Good boy. Is he being noisy? Is he? Speak to her. Good boy. Good boy. You're such a good babysitter. Do you love her? Do you love her? Do you? It's Mia. Teddy bear. You're so cute. I think he wants to play. This is. Oh, Philip. Are you playful? What? You speak? Who's a good boy? Who's the goodest boy? Who's a good boy? Good boy. You're hyper. You're hyper. Her face. You're so hyper. Oh, okay. I love you too.
Let's put the blankie on him.
Trying to roll fast. Phil, that's Mia's blanket.
Yeah. It's amazing how this big dog is so delicate when
Yeah.
interacting with the
Good
child,
boy.
toddler. The little baby girl.
Well, what I'm glad about is that the mom is at least watching every single movement,
Yeah.
that she's not leaving them alone.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Mia.
Yep.
That is Mia's blanket. Is he jealous and trying to take your blanket? Yay! She did it! And she's exhausted now. Meanwhile, Phil just wants her blanket. And you're back. And you're back. Are you just going to show what you can do now? Look at you go, Mia! Look at you go! Off the blanket yet again.
So the balance of the video is more or less the
There's
little
no
girl
stopping you.
moving
You
around.
can't crawl.
Right,
You
yeah.
can't lounge.
So we can stop it here. If you don't
Okay.
mind.
All right, that's good.
So dog talking to human and answering human, interesting topic. And Roman is
Yes.
very quiet.
Go ahead, Roman. Yeah, I can see you.
No word from Roman. Very
I'll
quiet.
wait for my turn.
Go ahead, Roman. Go ahead.
Is that a trap?
No, not at all.
You have the floor.
Actually, I had a conversation with my wife yesterday about
Oh, not with the
how
dog.
how in our mind we expect dogs to talk. How in our mind we expect children to talk. And we kind of like focusing on the talking. But the talking is not what we're talking about. It's the way we express ourselves in different ways, in different, let's say, dimensions. We have the emotional dimensions. We have our physical dimension. We have our spiritual dimension. And in those dimensions, we speak different languages. I have an emotional language that I can speak. I can appreciate, and that's a feedback. I can show you a body language, or I can show you a gesture, and that's a language too. So
Yeah.
dogs have this multiple complex language that consists of emotional language, physical language, verbal language, and actually language of location. The way the dog is in his dimension and position himself in dimension is language itself. The way I sit next to my partner, the way I'm against my partner, the way I'm confronting my partner, all these things are a language. And we have rituals and we have routines. All this together is a screenshot of what's happening right now in the moment. Now, when I'm talking about the moment, is the awareness of what is happening right now in the moment, in the situation, in relationship to the dog's environment. This is how the communication is happening. So it's not just one-way communication, the dog talks. It's a multiple-way communication. I talk, the dog talks, we have a conversation. So we're not talking about the language, we're talking about the communication that we have with animals. But we have to stop thinking just in terms of human, because we are not good communicators. We only talk. And we can't even talk with all the people, because I cannot talk with the person in China because we don't speak the same language.
That's
Dogs
right.
do.
But
Why
you
is
know,
that?
you're absolutely right. But if you went like this, people would know what you were talking about, right?
Right.
So your gestures, what you're really saying is that your gestures and your body language has a lot to do with how to communicate with each other, and that's really true. Whether that's human or whether that's animal, you can tell immediately.
Yeah.
Well, let's
So-
do a test. Let's do a quick test for our audience.
Okay.
Let's say from your heart, I really appreciate you. And then you just say just a word, I appreciate you. We recognize that emotion is the carrier wave of the word. The emotion and the word are together, traveling from one place to the other. So if I carry the word I appreciate you, and it comes from the heart, it goes further and it more includes than just say, oh, I appreciate you.
Okay, I'm going to try that. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Oh, that's such a lie.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I
No,
So,
no,
we
no,
want-
no, no, guy. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead. What?
I really appreciate you.
Good. Yeah.
I would
That's
like you guys to do a test. Go to your dog
I
and
appreciate
just say thank
everything
you.
you're saying, man.
I
Thank
do that all the time. Yes, thank you for every single thing that he does, because he does something special every time.
Then do two things. Write the word thank you on a paper and read it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take a paper, write it down. Dear dog, thank you. And just read it. And then, without the paper, tell your dog how you feel about your dog. And see the response of the dog. The difference between hearing a word and feeling a word. What difference that makes in his general body language. And then we recognize that dogs actually don't really listening to the words. They listen to the emotional value of those words that comes with it.
Exactly.
And then we have another dimension that's not visible for us, is our energetic language. Am I angry? Am I frustrated? Am I predatory? Am I a victim? It looks different in energetic field. So we know dogs see more a broader phasma than we do. So we want to make sure that we're not missing that aspect either. It's not just the body language. It was is around my energy field that makes a dog look different, that I look different. So if I go in a meditation, I'm the same person 5 minutes ago. No, I'm not. I have a different frequency and vibration. So I'm coming and making contact to my dog after the meditation. I feel different than before the meditation. And that's a fact. It's nothing I came up with like that, right? And
Right.
dogs can sense the difference. So those.
Whoops, we lost Roman.
Yeah. Relationship. Oops, Roland is gone. If we enter in a relationship on a very stressed matter with somebody else, our communication will be very stressed. And Roman is back.
Right.
Can we
Okay.
hear you?
Yeah. Which part was the last one you heard, guys?
About when you're in a meditative state.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
when
you
I'm
come
in a
out.
meditative state, your frequency changes.
Hmm.
And so when you're done with the meditation and you come back to your dog, your energy field looks different.
Right.
And so that energetic blueprint looks different. So
Well,
for those.
isn't that why they always say just calm yourself down and keep yourself calm around the dog, especially when you first walk in or you're being introduced, so that your energy is at not such a high level that it escalates to the dog.
Right. I can want things from the dog to be happening. I want the dog to take that treat. I'm coming in predatory as energy, and I can offer the dog a treat, and I'm not predatory.
Yeah.
And the dog will most likely take the treat.
Okay. All right. Now, this next section we have now is, I think, Roman, we have a bit of a connection with you today, but that's okay. Here we go. Roman to the rescue. Our question is not question, but what to avoid that's causing your dog food and people aggression. As we all know, you go to a shelter, you go someplace, and the dog might be labeled food aggressive or people aggressive. But here's the thing. What if this animal came from a desert? What if this animal was abandoned and they hadn't eaten for a while? They're starving. They come into a shelter environment and all they want to do is eat, and they are put into a kennel with 5 or 6 other dogs, and the other dogs want their food too. They're afraid that the food is going to be taken away from them, so they become aggressive. That's a terrible label to put on a dog, especially if they're thinking about euthanizing or actually killing the dog because of this behavior. That's something that we know for sure we definitely don't ever want to see. And then there are ones that are dog aggressive as well towards other dogs. Why does this happen? And what is it that we can do to avoid this? So this is Roman's show on this. Unless, Gaetan, did you want to say something about aggression? Because I know that you're people aggressive.
Ouch.
Look at him. Okay,
Really?
Gaetan. Yeah.
Ooh. He needs a muzzle.
Yeah. A muzzle. Yeah. Look at him. Bulldog. Yeah.
There's nothing more terrifying in a conversation and one of the two say,
Yeah.
Right.
it's really, really uncomfortable for the other party.
Yeah.
And if you want to have a conversation with somebody who's trying to dominate you and you answer like,
Yeah.
okay, back to the dog, back to feeding the dog, don't do that. My take is that if you're peaceful with yourself, you will have peaceful relationship. If you're aggressive, you will have aggressive relationship. Meditate, calm down, interact peacefully.
Right. Right.
Is that?
Okay.
Okay.
Oops.
So let's talk about dog aggression, food aggression, dog aggression. From a holistic behaviorist perspective, I always want to rule out any environmental factors that affects the dog's behavior. So the basic issue we're having here is food. We actually miss that aspect of aggression. Now, aggression is something very important to dogs, and dogs need aggression. It's the way for them to have a last resort of support to help themselves to survive. Aggression is something important. Correcting aggression is wrong. We shouldn't. but we have to understand where the dog is coming from, why he's offering that behavior that we see as an aggression. And we have also to recognize that aggression is not what the dog expresses, it's what the other side perceives. Is the victim that sees the aggression happening, not the one who actually performs the aggression.
Hmm.
So if a dog wants to survive and offers aggression as the way to get out of his situation, and I perceive that as a threat towards me, I'm missing the point that the dog has a problem, not me. It's the dog's problem that is expressed towards me. So the next thing I want to look for is when we go from a perspective of nutrients, I would say the dog behaves based on what he eats. If a dog is hungry, he may likely kill to eat. If a dog has a plethora of nutrients available, he will kill because he will scavenge. So dogs are scavenging animals. And also the next thing we want to look for is the importance of recognizing the quality of the nutrients as important as the source of the nutrients. Most of the dog food industry out there, the foods are made in rendering factories of leftovers of the meat industry and shelters. Yes. So you don't want to go miles close to those companies and factories who process that dog food, which is basically garbage recycling.
Right. It's like, seriously, folks, if we have garbage and garbage food inside of us, you can get brain fog, you get indigestion, you get stomach problems, you get lethargic, you're eating a bunch of crap. And when you're doing that, it changes your whole demeanor. When you eat healthy, you feel better and you look better. Same thing for animals too.
Right. So I wrote an article the other day. It's called in www.holisticdogtraining.org/blog/ are you feeding your dog into aggression with dash in between the words. I look into closer to help people understand what exactly is going on around food. And the first thing I would like you to talk about today is how to avoid aggression using food as medicine for that. So one reason why I would like you to do is keep feeding schedules. Don't feed too often, but don't feed not enough. So proper feeding schedule and enough food for your dog based on his age, his temperament, and his energy levels and his health conditions. Okay? Now, we have to compare apples with apples, and it's very difficult to compare dog foods with dog foods because we don't have enough information. The food industry doesn't want you to have that information, so you cannot compare things with each other. But you really have to dig deep and understand what exactly am I looking for when I buy healthy food, which is another show completely to talk about that. Another factor that helps reducing dogs' aggression is food allergies. So food allergies can cause a dog aggression because simple as the fact the dog doesn't want to get touched because he's vulnerable on his skin. He has an ear infection, he has a yeast infection, and all of a sudden you want to touch the dog or he's petting the dog's head, the dog will snap at you because he doesn't want you to touch his ear because he
Good
has a
point. Very good point. Yeah.
Some people want to put the dog's a leash on or a collar on, and the dog resists and starts mouthing them because he doesn't want to feel the leash on his skin. We have to see that animals are more and more sensitive than people. While animals have about 5 layers um, of skin thickness, people have 12 and 13 layers of skin thickness. Now we have to recognize that the dog is much more sensitive on his nervous system around his skin. So an allergy on the skin, it's more unhealthy to the dog than for us human. We just scratch a little bit, the dog really feels uncomfortable.
Hmm.
The next thing we want to look for is poor quality of protein and other ingredients. Low quality ingredients, meaning is the dog food has so low ingredients that I have to supplement with synthetic vitamins and additives and amino acids to reach the minimum levels necessary to be called healthy. But healthy is a relative term. Feed, if you consider the term feed, is the food that an animal gets to survive until it goes into slaughter. That's dog food. Feed, not food. So when I'm talking about food, I'm talking about food that is FDA approved. That is USDA approved. The protein qualities, the way of processing, the ingredients added to not only reach the minimum levels, to exceed the minimum levels. for the dog to thrive, not to survive. So we're talking two different languages here. And then the other ingredient is the balanced diet. I know people who love their dogs feeding them chicken and rice because they feed it's healthy. It's not healthy feeding the dog chicken and rice because that chicken and rice doesn't have balanced nutrients in it. It's monotonic and dogs will get sick in long terms. And there is scientific evidence for that. That's why we use food that are appropriate for dog breeds, different breeds.
Okay.
And different ages. Then feeding location is important. A dog who is scared around food, he's being more territorial and more reactive around food. If his food is in a high traffic area, he feels vulnerable. If a dog has trauma, he wants to be safe and secure. So having the food bowl next to another dog or next to an area that he doesn't feel safe, he's going to struggle with it. Too many carbs can cause the dog reactivity. Okay, liposaccharides destroy the brain cells. We know that. So too much carbs, and especially unhealthy carbs that goes in the dog food for leftovers of a food processing industry, is just a recycling system. And they just want to get rid of that. The poor feeding etiquette can cause the dog aggression. So we want to improve the feeding etiquette. How do we feed? The feeding protocol and the ritual around the feeding. And please, please do not stick your hand in your dog's food to make him safe around food. This is a wrong approach. I hear this all the time. I have people that, I did everything right and my dog is growling at my kids. He's not growling at me. Well, yeah, because you have a relationship with your dog and your dog basically is smart enough to says, I'm not biting the one who's feeding me, but I can bite everybody else who wants to take my food because I know what people will do with my food. They're going to grab it from me because that's what they do. So we can feed and we can treat our dog aggressively by having these weird approaches that are inappropriate for animals. If a dog eats, leave the dog alone.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Imagine you're sitting on a table and the waitress comes and picks up your food before you're done. I want to see aggression right there.
Right. Right.
But you want to take my coffee in the morning? I haven't had my coffee yet. You haven't seen aggression yet. So why sticking your fingers in his dog food? It doesn't think there's anything else that you would take his food away because that's what you actually do. And you confirm he's suspicious.
Yep.
Okay. So if you guys go to my website, I shared along with you guys my blog post that my wife and I really did a great job working together. She really helps me a lot putting all those documents together.
And I shared the link in the comments below. So I also see here, Roman, that you have a video that you wanted to share as well. So let's do that too.
This is a dog who has been twice on the euthanasia list for biting people around treats and around food. And this is the result of some work that we did in the past.
Okay, let's watch this.
How about you drop it and I can take care of it? Keep
on. You haven't shared it yet, I guess, on my side.
Yeah, I'm sharing it. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, I don't see it.
Wait. I see it. Wait. See?
Do you see it, Roman?
No, but it's okay. I know the video.
Okay.
I'll take care of it. Here, slow. Slow. Okay. How about you go to your bed? No. I need that bone. Go to your bed. Go. On your bed and sit.
Oh, he's eyeballing that bone, though. He wants that bone.
Sit. Good job.
But having emotional control around that food
Thank you.
and trusting me to take
care of
it.
the bone.
Okay, for somebody who will bite you for just having a treat in your hands, and there is no punishment involved with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking him through the process, helping him handle it, instead of correcting it or punishing it for happening. All I want is to take away the bone.
Good.
So I had the dog surrender the bone, not because I told him to, but because he felt safe to put it down there.
Right.
Okay. Yes, I help him out a little bit because his body takes over and he wants to keep it because there's competition left. But hey, you can let it go. And the word no has a consequence. The consequence of no is if you proceed further, it's going to end up in trouble with you. So trust me to let it go. So no is not being taught through punishment.
Right.
No is taught through consequences. And consequence doesn't mean punishment and fear. The consequence of me pushing the right switch is I have light. If I push the wrong switch, the consequence is I don't have light. So I learn from it.
Right. It's like when I turn the light switch off on Gaetan. I'm sorry, I'm in one of those moods today. And there's Gaetan with that
Silly,
special look. Yeah.
silly Cathy.
Yes.
Is that you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Silly Cathy is back.
the thing that really gets me is when people talk about the food aggression, etc. It just makes common sense. If I'm sitting in a restaurant, like you said, and I'm sitting in a restaurant and I've got my food in front of me, ask permission if you want something, or let me offer you something from my plate, but don't just go ahead and take it off my plate, because that's going to send up a red flag like that's odd behavior. That's not acceptable behavior. So we do that as humans, but we say something about it. In a dog's case, they have no other alternative except to snap. That's mine. That's mine.
Yeah, I would like to comment on the video.
Okay.
What I notice is you don't change your tone of voice, you don't raise your voice, you don't change the tone of voice, you maintain the same natural tone of voice, a little bit subdued, if I say. And the interaction with the dog has nothing to do with aggressivity or imposing something by voice or by attitude. That's very, I will call that pretty unique you have a lot of zillion of so-called trainer, and it goes from the trainer barking more than the dog to the trainer who just do gesture, and you have this amazing ability to remain very composed and interact with the dog in a very composed manner, if it's the right word in English. I mean by that you're not like gesticulating or having gesture, and dogs react very positively and very quietly to your method, if I use that word, because that's what struck me in several of the video I saw from you interacting with dog. I remember a video where you're training a dog on a leash to walk on a leash, and you have the leash between the finger like that, not even touching the leash, and within 20 minutes of your interaction with the dog, there was no pulling on the leash, there was nothing going on. It was at your cadence, it was at your pace, and that was like, wow, how you do that. Anyway, comment was in the regard, yes.
Communication.
Yes.
I was communicating information to the dog. Why it's okay to do that, and why it's not okay to do that. And so, if I come, go ahead, Kathy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
If I were to correct the dog of
take
his
your time.
behavior,
You have 30 seconds.
If I would correct the dog of his behavior, I would come in predatory with intentions to take his bone away. But all I wanted him to let the dog bone go because he will have benefits from it.
Yeah.
It's really about the dog. It's not about the trainer or the other person. The dog has a problem, and the dog reacts because he has a problem. We always have to see that.
But Gaetan, one of the main reasons why we chose Roman to be the holistic dog trainer guru of our show is because we are all in alignment with his way of training, which is energy and holistic, and he realizes that his energy is very important to the dog. If he were to be excited or raise his voice or do certain things, he knows instinctively the dog is going to act based on what he's doing, because that dog is watching watching every movement he's making, following him everywhere. If he were to walk over here, the dog would walk over there. He would follow him, because Roman has the ability to have complete command of exactly what he's doing, and then knowing that how he reacts is going to react to the dog as well, which makes for a beautiful thing. It's not trying to teach the dog to give paw or to roll over. It's not a training thing. It's a behavior thing
Yep.
that
Well,
he's looking at.
I want to
And
kind of say a word. Synchronicity is what's important with working with a dog. You have to
Right.
synchronize the feelings between you and your dog at the same time as it happens. And it's not me commanding the dog, it's like guiding him through a process, giving him feedback how I feel in relationship to how the dog feels. And it's not something I only do. It's not me being the guru here. Everybody can do that. And that's why I'm having these classes. I want people to learn to step into their parenting power and do what I do.
Well, that's what you're doing, though. You're sharing what your gift is, and that's a wonderful
Right.
thing, because
Yeah.
other people should. You wouldn't be of value to the universe if you weren't sharing your gift. And now you're saying to everyone, "I know what works, and I've gotten the training to do it. I've done it personally, and now I'm offering it to other people."
Right.
And if of course, people can go ahead and learn how to dog train as well, or be a behaviorist and go through school and all that. But I love about you, Roman, is, and I know Gaetan does too, that it's a lot of instinct and energy. You just know, you just feel it, you get that. And I know myself, a lot of times around animals, people will say, well, why are the dogs always gravitated to you? Well, because I have an aura about me that says, I'm your friend, I'm not going to hurt you, there's nothing that I'm going to do that you should be fearful of. And they recognize that, and they'll come right up to me, and they could be biters and aggressive, but I don't have that problem because I don't go in fearful. I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. We have to shift the paradigm of how we treat animals at the very source. From the moment the dogs come into your house, morals and ethics, family code of conduct, teaching the dog what he needs to know to troubleshoot situation he gets himself in. What we do is we are usually reactive instead of being proactive.
Right.
Like, I don't expect my child to be in the hospital or in prison to start teaching him what to do. I do this before he grows up and goes out in this dangerous world to survive. That's the same done with dog training.
Yep.
Okay, so now our last segment of now this little guy that I interviewed, it went along really well with the show. He said to me, my deal is that I'm not aggressive because nobody gives me any food. And here's what he had to say.
Hey, yo, does anybody see me out here? I want to come in. It's lunchtime. Don't you have my lunch ready already? Can you see me? I'm here. I'm waiting. Oh, boy. What does it take to get you to notice me? Yoo-hoo, here I am. It's me. I'm ready to come in and eat. Where's my lunch? I hope you can see me. Oh, brother boy, trying to get a human's attention is really a tough thing. I guess I gotta do a lot more training, that's for sure.
So what do you think, Roman? Gaetan, humans need more training, isn't that true?
Definitively.
Yeah.
Definitively. Train human first.
Thanks, Dale.
I kind of agree with that point,
Yeah.
Dale. Thank you.
Yeah.
Roman will pay a visit to Katie very soon.
You know, the wonderful thing about doing this show is that it's our show, so we can do what we want, and we don't have to worry about any censoring, right?
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. Okay, well, that's it for today's show. Any closing thoughts, everyone? Closing thoughts, the closing statements?
Be
Yes.
at the same vibration than the dog.
Yes.
Be
Okay.
attuned with the dog. And
Yeah.
attune with human also. Very important. Be attuned with human. Don't look at them.
Yeah.
Kathy.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks. Wonderful show. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Tell your